Wonder Woman 3 went through a whole overhaul before ultimately James Gunn and Peter Safran would come on board and completely try to overhaul it once again, but the director wouldn't give in, aka Patty Jenkins wouldn't change the film, so the film was cancelled. Well, now we know some of the details of what would have been featured in it. So there's been multiple reports out there of what the upcoming Wonder Woman reboot could possibly feature, but also some of the leftovers in regards to Wonder Woman 3 and what the end goal and ultimate plan was. So according to reports, Patty Jenkins' take on Wonder Woman 3 would have officially been an entry that's set in the modern day. Now this of course is completely different than the previous two films, and obviously would have been the furthest project along in the DCEU timeline, according to all these reports. The film was set after the events of all the current films that are happening. Black Adam and The Flash have already happened, and this is set after the events of all of those. The idea was to have sort of a Justice League light, if you will, where a cameo of The Flash was planned, to, of course, bridge the universe and say, okay, yes, this is taking place in the new DCEU that we kind of reshaped with the ending of The Flash, but also other cameos were planned. In talks was allegedly Ben Affleck for Batman, and since he returned in Black Adam, Henry Cavill's Superman would have allegedly been featured as well. Now, some time ago, there was reports that never got debunked and just kind of sat there, but they did focus on the fact that this film would have kind of been a bridge between Justice Leagues to assemble this new team, to show us more of how they work, and ultimately lead into Justice League 2. So you can kind of tell that older versions of the film, before Jenkins wanted it to be a little bit more standalone and then continue on with her draft instead of focusing on what they wanted for the DCU, that things were all over the place. And as we found out, there was all sorts of new voices constantly coming in, adding in new characters, taking away characters, expanding, shrinking the DCEU, just sort of messing with it. And this film just kind of sat in some sort of strange limbo state, best way to describe it. So we'll talk more about Wonder Woman down the road, because I'm sure we're going to find out more, but this definitely seems like it would have been more of what people wanted from a more modern day DCEU film, essentially a Justice League 1.5.